Okay guys, today we're going to be looking for a parasitic draw that I suspect I have on my CRX. I got this idea from on how to diagnose this from Eric the Car Guy. Great channel. If you don't know about that, check him out. But anyway, we're going to do some testing. We're going to see what we find and go from there. And I'll let you know what I find. Okay, now one of the things that Eric the Car Guy says to do is to make sure you have all your doors, windows, everything closed and shut down when you're doing this type of testing, so you're not getting any kind of readings that are would be abnormal from the car sitting at basically a standstill, right? So what I've got here is a little C-clamp. I'm gonna put that on my little plunger here, so the car thinks the doors are closed. I'm gonna do that on both sides. Okay, so basically what we have here is a multimeter connected to... Okay, this is just an explanation on what I'm actually doing here. You'll notice in this photo, this screenshot, that I have both the test leads touching, basically the same. It's a completed circuit there because you can see that the green is connected to the negative post on the battery terminal, and it's also touching the negative post, or the negative what do you want to call it, clamp, where the other, the red lead is also touching the same. So that's not how you test this exactly. You want them separated, so one's going to be on the negative terminal of the battery and the other will be on the clamp, if you will, and they'll be separated, which I did do in testing. I just kind of moved that up so the jacketed portion of the wire was kind of pinching the test lead to the negative post on the battery, if that makes any sense. So that's how you actually could test. You know, you got to keep them separated, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to explain it, but I didn't leave it like this in the photo, FYI. The negative side of the battery. Now, Eric the Car Guy recommends the negative side so you don't short anything out, but you can do it from either side, whatever you feel comfortable with. But again, he recommends the negative side because if you short out the negative, it's no big deal. Now on this test, he does recommend to test in amps or milliamps, but more likely amps. So we'll tune to that. And mine has like a little warning, which is pretty cool. We'll let you know if you're doing it wrong. See how it says if you're going to test here, you need to do this. So we're actually going to go to amps. You'll notice a 0.58 amp draw. So there we are. So what we want is to see that very close to zero. There shouldn't be any value there, right? So systematically, what you need to do is systematically, like I said, check all your fuses. And the first thing you want to do is check under your hood, and here's some fuses. So you start pulling them, right? You pull one, your little handy dandy fuse puller, no change. Put that back, pull the next one, no change. Put that back, pull the next one, no change. Put that back, pull the next one, big change. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back for right now. That one happens to be stop horn. So stop lights, your brake lights, and your horn. But with this car, what's interesting, I've already disconnected the horn, checked out all the stop lights, checked out all the tail lights, disconnected them, tried to rule that out. Well, nothing happened. I still got the same value. Actually, it's going up a little bit, which is interesting. At any rate, you can kind of hear it when you back and forth with this power on and off situation. There's some solenoids in the door, interestingly enough, with this car. They're inside here, inside the door panel. They're connected to the door latch. And basically what it tells the seatbelt how to behave, whether or not the door is open or closed. Now these can wear out over time, and I think that's what we're seeing here. It's just some bad latches. So the fix, if you want to be cheap, is just to disconnect them, which I intend to do. Nobody shows exactly where to connect them, but they say it's deep inside the door, right by the latch. So I imagine somewhere in this area. So I'm going to check that out, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to take these door panels apart because they are kind of old and brittle, but we're going to do it and see if we can get an end to this parasitic draw. But yeah, that's what I discovered. It's kind of retarded. It just says stoplight and or horn, but it's actually your seat belts and your latches here that are to blame, more than likely. So we'll see. Okay, so here you are with the door panel off. Handy dandy unit right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's still registering 0.68 amp draw. They say to unplug the harness to that latch, and I'm pretty sure it's this right here. That's the only thing I can see going right to the latch. This is for my door lock actuator for my alarm, so that's not it. Here's the little solenoid inside the seat belt. What's his name? Garage Built Hondas was doing this too. Playing with the door latch here, and he said that these wear out, which, you know, of course they do over time. And you can see it activates the little solenoid. So that seems to be working properly. Let's see what happens to the value. So 0.35, so that says to me that each one of these doors is worth, what, about 0.3 or better, 0.35, whatever, amp draw. So one of them's not working right. I don't think it's this one. I think this one's actually working right, properly. But we're gonna mess with it anyway to see. So I just unplugged this, and the value is back to 0.35, so as if the door is shut. So I'm gonna do that on the other side and just see if that eliminates the rest of my draw. I'm pretty sure it will. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm no like mechanic, aka car scientist, car guru, right? But what I will tell you is I think it is definitely the solenoid in this seat belt. It's warm to the touch, which tells me it's been trying to draw power this whole time. I unplugged it. We were at 0.35, remember? So we started at like 0.68. Then when we closed this door, it was functioning properly and went down to 0.35. Then we were down to 0.35 because that one, we disconnected this one and went over to this guy and disconnected it. Now we're down here, 0.18. So I don't know what that is in milliamps. Let me see what that is. Way too much, I think. I think Eric the car guy was saying should be around 50 milliamps. So I'm still tracing this down. Geez. Okay. But 0.2 is a lot better than like 0.8, 0.9 where we started at the very beginning. In this video it was like 0.68, but it was even higher than that before now we're back up to 3.4. That's awesome. It's going back down. What the hell? Okay, here's what we're left with after completely unplugging both harnesses on the driver's door for the seatbelt system. Basically, I think I need a new seatbelt, and I'm told there's a lifetime warranty on these. I'll talk to my dealer and see what's up, but this is much more acceptable. So hope this helps, since I never saw a video on a CRX people doing this. They just talk about it online. But yeah. Oh, and after unplugging both harnesses, we're on milliamps now, and we're much closer to the 60 milliamps, 65 milliamps, I think Eric the car guy said we're supposed to be at. We're close. I don't know what extra I can do to get there, but see how it's fluctuating. Now I do have an aftermarket alarm, so that could be part of it as well. Okay, here's what I got going on today. As y'all know, I did the NSX boot with the shift knob. Kind of Frenched it in. It's a lot skinnier than the stock boot, which came out, you know, a bit wider. This didn't turn out very good. I mean, it might look okay on camera, but you can see it's not as smooth as I wanted it to be. And also, it never really cured. There's like a lump here. When the weather got really hot, this turned into like a bubble, and it's just kind of like a lump. And I sprayed the shadow chrome over it. And because it wasn't fully cured, when the temperature changed, it kind of stretched and did some weird wrinkly stuff. And again, you probably can't see a lot of that in the camera, but it really just sucks, and I hate it so much. So I thought about trying to, you know, chisel this up, like rip it up and stuff. But because it never fully cured, I'm sure that it would become a big old mess. It's about the consistency of like a, I don't know, like a bouncy ball kind of, you know, like it's still kind of a little springy, but you know, if I tried to peel this up, it would be a sticky mess underneath. So I just don't want to even mess with that. And I thought, what's the best way that I could mask this and make it look good, but also, you know, function? And my first thought was, let's just redo this. Let's peel all this up and then cut this whole thing out. I was going to cut along this seam and then wrap it in like a suede or Alcantara. I thought that would be cool. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, there'd be a whole lot of work. I'd have to plastic weld this all back together, blah, blah, blah. So I got a flocking kit. So this will essentially turn this into like a suede finish without having to wrap it with suede and having to cut anything out. So I'm going to try my hand at that and see how it goes. I'm just going to kind of brush the adhesive on with this little oil paintbrush, just kind of, you know, and go from there and see how it works. Wish me luck. I'll show you the final result. So the first step is I just kind of took the boot and just kind of pushed it in here, and I'm going to tape all around this edge. I also cleaned this with just kind of like a wet wipe, just kind of went over it, get all the dust off. So again, I'm going to tape up this because we don't want any adhesive on the boot. So I'm going to get that prepped, and then I'm also going to go around this edge because I don't want it on here either. Okay, so as you can see, I have carefully painted it up, carefully taped it up in order to basically paint on the adhesive, and then we're going to flock the mother flocker gonna flock the hell out of it and see how it turns out. Okay, so everything's coated. You can see that this adhesive is black in color. So I just kind of painted everything, and now I'm going to paint it with my little flocker tube. You basically pump this thing and it pumps out all the fibers, and you twist it to kind of mix it up as well at the same time. Okay guys, we flocked it. This is all the reclaim I got. It says to coat it really heavy, and so that's what I did. I don't see any parts that I may have missed or anything. I just kept going over it, probably like 3 times, 3 passes. It just like really, you know, flocked it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to turn out pretty good. It looks really nice. So it says to allow up to like 16 hours to let this stuff dry. So that's what I'm going to do before removing the tape, revealing the final product. So we'll see you in 16 hours. Okay guys, it's the next day, and I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it looks 1,000% better than it did. It looks really good, and I think it'll continue to look good in the car. The one thing that you might not know if you've never flocked anything is that this stuff is actually see-through. That's why the adhesive is colored, and in this case black, because you have black flocking, right? But if you had red, you'd get like red colored adhesive, etc., etc. But I don't know if you can see on camera here, there's a few shiny areas in here, and that's the carbon fiber underneath that's showing through because it didn't really coat that well in there. I guess I just didn't coat it good enough. I did as the instructions said and put way more than I thought I needed to cover everything. So you just really liberally put the fibers on here. I mean, real thick, just to ensure full coverage. And so for the most part, it looks great. This back here is going to be tucked kind of way into the dash. Basically, there's a lip here with the cigarette lighter and the ashtray. So you're not even really going to see that. That said, I'm going to try to touch it up and just put a little dab of adhesive in there and go over it one more time, just because I'm OCD like that. At least I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I won't. We'll see how it looks in the car. For now, I was debating on whether or not to do the top section of these door panels, but since I'm not totally pleased with this being perfect like I wanted it to be, I can only imagine what would happen on this surface. So I don't know. I mean, the only reason I was thinking about doing it is because each one of them has damage from the seat belts over the years, people slamming them in the doors. So there's evidence of that there. And then this one's a little bit worse. I did take some glue and kind of press this down so it doesn't it was kind of like flaying out, you know, and now it's kind of tight to the door. So if I did do it, I just need a little bit of filler right here to smoothen this out in order to get a smooth surface to flock it, and then, you know, it would do a good job hiding the imperfections, I think. The other thing I did was this was missing a clip, and basically it's one of these, kind of like this here on the back side. It's like a U-shaped kind of screw clip thing. And the only reason I know that is because the good one, my driver's door, had it on there, and I was unable to secure this. So when I'd open the door, sometimes this would flop open. Then the other thing was this thing had some damage. Well, it wasn't really damage, but on the back side here, I don't know if you can see, on the back side here, there's these little like metal feet. They're like a little, you know, little claw thing. And I just took some channel locks and pressed all of them together really hard. And then along the edge of this seam here, I put some glue, some E6000, I think it's called, some of my favorite glue, to make sure that it doesn't come off again. So kind of fix that up a little bit. I'm just going to put it together for now and enjoy it the way it is for a little while longer and think about the flocking and my flocking future. I do kind of want to flock the dash because it does have some damage, which I've discussed in a previous video, and I think that'll address that. And then I don't know if I'm going to throw this in today or not. I've been kind of working on this. There are some components I want to add. Just had a blanket just kind of kicking it back there. And then the other thing that I did was I just kind of repaired the sail panel. Both the clips were broke. This clip here was broken completely off, and then this kind of fell apart because it was like really stuck in there. It's a little push pin, and I had to use some little pliers to yank that out and then kind of reapply it. Again, I used some CA glue, and then over the top of that, I used some E6000. So hopefully that will hold our sail panel together. Overall, I think it looks great, and at a glance, I mean, you know, it's going to be sitting down below me, you know, obviously to my right. So I think, you know, you get this kind of angle, and you're not even going to see that back portion really, unless you like stick your head down in there and look. So I think it'll look really good. Again, 1,000% better than that stupid carbon fiber that I had on there that just didn't turn out right because of this resin, which I haven't thrown away yet. I don't know why. Maybe I want to give it another chance on a less important project. I don't know. Here's the new stuff they sent me, which I haven't even opened. Yeah, the stuff's like $80, so I feel guilty like throwing it away. But I don't want to have to use it on something important only to find out it didn't work either. So it is what it is. That's how it turned out. Yeah, I thought I was done. I've had this thing put together and torn apart 3 times now. Literally 3 times this weekend. And not because I like doing it. Also, by the way, this is kind of how the center console turned out. I thought it looked pretty good. I'm happy with it. I can live with it. But aside from that, we were dealing with the parasitic draw. And when I initially unplugged this harness, and then the one on the other side, from the research that I had done, it worked out. The draw disappeared, went back to normal. Well, this car's never had a problem with the buzzer or anything with the seat belts until I did that. And now when I put everything back together, I discovered that the buzzer won't shut the hell up and these lights won't go off. The light up here and then the one in the cluster will not go off no matter what I do. Whether I plug this back in or I unplug it, doesn't even matter. It's just one of those things that's kind of maddening. Since I know that I eliminated the parasitic draw by unplugging these, I'm leaving them unplugged. And so what I did was I took this apart and I took out the power source. Well, I just unplugged it so it doesn't beep at me anymore. Your beeper for your seatbelt is in here as beepers. As well as your lights. So unplugging that harness turned out the light and turned off beepers. Well, there was another light in the dash right here that would not shut the hell up. And I'm not going to drive with that thing blinking at me. So I just took the bulb out of that. That's my fix for right now until I figure out what to do. Again, I was told that these seatbelts are a lifetime warranty through Honda, but this is a 30-year-old car and I am not the original owner. So I wonder if that's true. I'm going to find that out and I'll let y'all know what happened. But for now, that's my answer to this. It's pretty maddening. Yeah, I didn't want to spend all day working on this, but that's the way this goes, right? What's up, guys? Today we're going to be addressing another issue with the CRX. That's right, I suspect these are hashed, the motor mounts. These are Place Racing motor mounts, and if you know anything about Place Racing, you know they're out of business for several years now. If I'm not mistaken. And so these are kind of old and I'm getting some vibration, just slight. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about was these Place Racing mounts. I think it's kind of a cool piece of history in the fact that according to an article I found, which is one of the only pieces of information I found on this, since they don't exist anymore, they were pretty much one of the first shops, if not the first shop in California, performing engine swaps on Hondas, according to this article anyway, which is dated back August 27th, 2008 from motortrend.com. The guy talks about this guy Gil Garcia, I think is his name, who had this shop in Azusa, California, and in the 90s they didn't even really have a name, but people called them The Place, so they just added racing to the end, which was kind of funny. That's how they got their name. But one thing I thought was really cool about them back in the day is they offered mounts that you couldn't find anywhere else. Specifically, like back then when I was looking at them, and this was years ago, but I had I think a third gen or fourth gen Prelude, the 88 through 91 Prelude, but I had an 88 SI, and I was looking to do an H swap, and they offered mounts for that, and I couldn't find anybody else that did that, so I thought that was kind of cool. They had some interesting options and whatnot. And through more research in forums and stuff, I found a thread that was dated back from 2004 saying they were already closed, so that gives you an idea of just how long they've been out of business. Quite some time. So just without a doubt, let's say that, that these mounts that were in my car were purchased right at the end of Place Racing's existence. That would have been from at least 2004. So they're quite old, and they held up this long, even though the one had to be repaired. So that's kind of, saying something. And I did like the design. Now, another interesting thing I found, without rambling too long, is I went to Innovative Mounts website, and it turns out they do offer those same mounts I was looking for all those years ago, the H series into the third, fourth gen Prelude, which is pretty interesting. The other interesting thing is if you read on their website on Innovative Mounts on that particular product, it does mention Place Racing mounts. I don't know if that was a mistake or is Gil Garcia with Innovative Mounts now. I wonder. I don't know. Just an interesting side note. I thought it was a pretty cool story, but yeah, they were like the OGs doing it back in the day. Apparently, before I think even before Hasport, even really got into the game. I'm not 100% on that, but they were the OGs, really doing it. So I thought that was kind of cool. And back then, it was super cool to have a B-swapped Civic or something of the like, So just a little bit of history. I think the Place Racing mounts are pretty cool. I'm going to keep them on the shelf just so I can look at them because I'm a dork like that. Just a piece of history, and I thought that was neat. And it's bothering the crap out of me, so I'm going to change all 3 of the motor mounts today and take you along with me. This should be fun. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we'll see. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna take this intake off and the battery. So for that, I'm just using a 12 mil. That's what mine happens to be. I don't remember what those are. I think it's 7 mil. Yes, sir. That's what they are. 7 mil. All right. Oh, there's that. Switch this back out. Now we need to figure this one out. What's it looks like a 10. I'm almost certain it's a 10. I don't know what kind of fuckery he did down here for my custom battery hold down. We'll see. Alrighty. When doing this, you should hit your car as much as possible. It just really helps if you hit your car, you know. I don't know what he did down here. I just know that I don't like it. I just can't stand it. There's oil all over this from the other day when the VTEC solenoid was leaking and the cam seal and everything else. I just gotta wipe this up a little bit. It's pretty disgusting. No, I didn't do this spray paint job here and this really whack fuse holder and everything else. When I dropped this car off, I gave the guy a JL Audio kit to install the stereo. This is Walmart wiring right here. That's what this is. You didn't even use it. I'm still bitching about it. But every time I see it, man, it just annoys the shit out of me. So there's that, you know. It's just really irritating. Till I get everything addressed, it will be, you know. So yeah. I don't know how I'm supposed to get this battery out with this. I have to unscrew this from the bottom using like a deep socket or something. Well, I guess I could. I can get one on there. I'm guessing it's a 12. I mean, how would you even get in here? I mean, he doesn't care. It's not his problem, right? It's just my problem. I just realized this doesn't have the optimal angle, I don't think. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. Yep, so it was a 12. Funky adapter he made. I mean, I guess it works. Little lock washer. Like I said, I guess it works. Wait. Okay. Let's clean her up a little bit. This probably won't make the video, but okay. I like what he did here, like some little soft carpet stuff, so it doesn't rattle around. Seems to be pretty solid. I guess it's not too bad. You know? Got a little something in there. It isn't glued down, but... Okay, it was stuck down, but like, not very well, I guess. I'll just keep it like that. Oh boy, this is gonna make changing the mounts fun, isn't it? I just noticed that. Oh boy. Well, we can still get to them. The bolts and whatnot, I see that. So, it might not be so bad. We'll see. This engine bay is so filthy. One day we'll give it the love it deserves. Really go over it. Someday when everything's removed and out of the way, so I can just easily, you know, do it. But all right, stared at it long enough. So I think the only wheel I have to take off, sorry about the noise on the train there. I think the only wheel I have to take off is the passenger side. So we're gonna jack the whole car up though anyway. Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna use the jack for activities. Activities up here. Got this handy dandy rubber pad. Check it out. Anyway, like I gotta clean it off for under the car, but you know what I'm saying? And then you just do this here and jack her on up. Okay, for the right hand mount, you kind of on the right hand side here underneath the car. Garage built Hondas, I think, did that, and then on the other side he kind of moved it over there to the transmission. So you just kind of want enough to support the weight of the engine and whatnot while you're taking these bolts out. And so you can move it up or down to adjust, get in there when you need to. So these look fairly new, probably came with this kit, but see how this is all warped, and I just don't have any faith in it anymore, so we're changing it out. Got me some new extensions today, so just in case we need them, I'm gonna be using a 3/8 ratchet. And I want to say that looks like a 19, which you already have the 19 out. Where is it? It's attached to my torque wrench on the other side there. I don't know what extension we'll need, but we'll start with this one. This one looks promising. No, it looks too big now. We'll try this little guy. Is it a 19? No, I don't think it is. I think it's an 18. For whatever reason. Let's just move this kit over here with me. Yeah, so under acceleration or deceleration, just intermittently in general, this thing has a little bit of vibration, and I've been through this car, man. I've done the axles, the steering linkage, and the tie rod ends. You know, maybe it is a 17. Those other ones don't look like a 17, are they? Oh, I'll be damned. Okay, well, it's 17, just like if you're at a D series. But anyway, oh good lord, I might need a cheater bar on that. Easy, Tiger. But yeah, I just get a little bit of vibration, and I don't play that shit. Not even. I've been through axles, new steering linkage, upper, not upper, I did lower ball joints, and I mean, so yeah, you can see all this stuff is new. You know, I haven't done the upper control arms and upper ball joints, but they don't look bad, and I'm not addressing the camber yet. That will be in the future. I just haven't deemed it a priority just yet, so that's where we're at with that. Ooh, this headband's making my head sweat. All right, I'm gonna show you the kit that I got real quick, just so you're not in the dark. Obviously not a place racing. Oh, and I got these RGB 9005s for the high beams. Kind of cheesy, kind of ricey, but they have the halos like on the bulb itself, so you can change colors and stuff. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to hang on for this train. Anyways, I thought it would be kind of cool to kind of mimic the DA Integra, how they have the inner, and that thing is loud, how they have the inner fog lights built into the headlight housing. So I'm just going to use the high beams as fog lights because I don't want to cut up this bumper up here. I don't want to cut those to put in the factory like Stanley fog lights, if you can even find those. Oh, and I brought some more extensions. Look at that. But this is the kit I got. The Hasport EFB1 for cable transmission, and I got the 94, the highest one that you can get, because I don't want to have this problem again. Now it is going to vibrate a lot, but it won't be the same kind of vibration. It won't feel like I'm driving a broken car. So that's what I'm going for, and I don't want to have this problem again. So I just went straight to the top. And everybody knows Hasport's the way to go if you want the best, right? So yeah, that's what they look like. Just gonna kind of lay them out here. There they are, ladies and gents. Hasport mounts. Woo! Comes with hardware too, which is pretty cool. Sorry about the train noise, guys, I can't help it. But yeah, here we are. So we're definitely going to use the new hardware. This is the one I'm going to need immediately. Here's the transmission side, and I believe this is the back. And it matches the car better. It's red, not blue. So, what up, blood? What up, blood? No more cuz. We got blood. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I need some tea. It's hot out here. Damn, it's hot out here. But yeah, that's the kit I got. It was like $380 or so. So, I mean, not cheap, but I'm not trying to cheap out on this car, you know? Only the best for my baby. All right, guys. So we're back. Bloody headband thing on again for you guys. Hope you appreciate it because it's really hot out here. And I'm sweating. I'm dying out here, man. Look at my fat ass. Anyways, place racing mount, kind of cool. But as you can see, they're cracked all along the edge here. They ain't really doing nothing. I can flex it with my hand, see that? So that's making this thing rock back and forth while I'm driving, and altogether just making it feel like a piece of shit. So although the Hasport kit came with some hardware, what it didn't come with is these long bolts that go through. This is all you get. So literally the bolts that go there. Got some nylock going on here. So as you can see, one of them had a nut underneath, one of them didn't. One of them's threaded, one of them's not. So that's just kind of how it comes off. That's how I'm gonna put it back on, get the new hardware ready. So it looks like somebody painted these. They were probably shabby stock bolts or something. Someone painted them, I don't know. Anyway, this looks to be the same length here. Let's see, do we have a shorter one? Yes, we do. And it looks like it has a washer underneath that. So we'll put a washer. Is that not for this one? Is it for another one? Yeah, these are different size even. Look at that. I guess you can't get it wrong then. Let's lay these out instead of me fighting them in the bag. So that goes on that one. Okay, these larger washers obviously go on these fatter ones, right? And then I see here's another like skinny one, and then a fatter one. And they're different lengths too. So super short, short. Got two of them the same size there, and then you got this super long one. So I guess we're gonna figure out where they go. I imagine this goes on the other side for these. So, but what I needed was this super short one for this one, because that's the same length as this guy here, basically. So that's where this one goes. And then this one is the super long one with a nut. So like a that one has a nylock. This is gonna be fun putting back on. Because this one, is this nylock? No, I don't think it is. So the second one is going to be this bad boy right here, more than likely. It's not this one, so it's definitely this one. And a nylock. See if we can get these on here. Oh, of course, it just moved forward hella. Look at that. How am I supposed to deal with that now? This is moving it backward, so maybe that's enough. Damn, dude, about as far as it'll go. See, this is that part where you think something's gonna be easy, or it should be, and it ain't. It's proven to be not so easy. Oh, and these are even bigger than a 17? Yep, they are. 18, 19, 19. Okay, Hasport, 19 it is. Did it go? Did I get lucky? Dude, it's gonna be one of those jobs. Okay, back for just a second, people. Yeah, I was filming with this thing on my forehead, but it's so hot out here I had to take a break. But anyways, this has proved to be a little more difficult than what they say. Everybody says it's so easy, and I guess in concept it is, but you know, some things can go wrong, they seem to go wrong. Okay, as I was saying, seems like things can go wrong, they do go wrong, you know, right? So it's not gonna be that easy. Basically what I mean by that is I got all the bolts out of this old one here. As I did that, I didn't realize, but this thing was slowly turning clockwise and kept doing so to the point where I got these two bolts in and then I couldn't get this guy in. So I tried finagling it. I tried getting a pry bar in here and just kind of straightening it out. It was not happening. Jacking it up and down, it would get close but no cigar. I had to take these bolts out, put this one in first. Then I used a pipe all the way down by the cross member here, or whatever, the front core support, whatever you want to call it, and the oil pan or edge of the block. I kind of just pried it, and then I got my Allen wrench in here. Since I didn't have a lady foot or a heel bar, pry bar, whatever you want to call it, that's what I used to kind of line everything up, and I kind of just reefed this over to where I could get this guy in. Now I think I can get the last bolt in with the nylock on there, and I can, you know, semi-tighten this stuff down and start on the next one over there. But anyway, that's just an update, and that's the way I recommend doing it. Put the long bolt in first. Okay, just an update. As you'll see, I got everything pretty much buttoned up there. It's not all the way tight. I'm leaving it a little bit loose so we have some wiggle room, literally, so we can kind of wiggle it around to start on this second one, transmission mount. So it looks like I've got 3 17s here, and then 1 17 that goes through here. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 here. I'm gonna have to get this out of my way, whatever it is. Looks like a ground of some sort, so we'll do that. All right, y'all, just a little update. Here's the rest of the hardware that I have after buttoning up the first motor mount. This is what Hasport provides you in this little bag, the EFB1 kit. Okay, I used 2 of the bolts. Didn't come with this third one, whatever. So 2 of these are the right size for this next one. I assume this is going to be for the rear mount, so we've got 2 of these, and they're going to go here. I've already got all the bolts out. I've got every bolt out. There are 4 bolts total, 3 that are that size, and then 1 long one that goes through on this passenger side, right? Well, if Hasport's providing you with all the hardware, how come they don't give you 3 bolts for the 3 bolt holes? We're missing one, Hasport, just FYI. I'm sure your kit's great. I'm sure it's going to perform awesome, but I would like all the hardware. If you're going to say you provide all the hardware, provide all the hardware, damn it. Just an interesting little point here. And I don't really have enough room to finagle this out, so I imagine I'm going to have to drop this down, drop the jack down and the whole engine and whatnot as far as I can in order to get this out. So I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, guys, here's the mount I just pulled out. So you'll see I dropped it all the way down to give myself some more clearance, and I basically just had to twist it and pull up and out. So twist, pull up and out. It's kind of how I got this thing out with it all the way dropped like that. So now I'm going to put the other one in, reverse process, just kind of finagle it in there. And I'm going to put this bolt in first, just like I did the other side, and then I'll focus on lining these 3 up with the transmission. Okay, one thing that's interesting to note, you'll notice here, the Hasport mount is much thicker than the Place Rate in just about every way.
That's a huge bitch!
Literally just about every way. It's you know, of course, about the same height, but everything, the base, everything's way thicker. I don't think I'm gonna be able to put this one in the way I took this one out.
That's what she said. Or he said.
Looks like I'm gonna have to put this one in from the bottom of the car, finagle it in that way, just because this is too fat. So we'll see, I'll let you know. Okay, I tried finagling it in there, it didn't work. It's too fat. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I had a genius work on my car previously, and I know I mentioned this in a couple of videos. He welded a battery tray in here. So I can't even get this part out if I wanted to, without, I don't know, chiseling it out or something. So it's thoroughly in the way. If that wasn't in there, I could probably finagle it in there, but it's in there. It's in there real good. So plan B. One thing Hasport did do us a favor. I did mark it up a little bit in the vise, but nobody's gonna see that, so who cares? This part right here, you can take it off. There's these 2 Allens underneath. Yeah, I just took those off. There you go. So I'm gonna bolt them on separately, put this on from underneath the car, and torque the hell out of it. Incidentally, they were so torqued on, all these bolts, I felt like I was gonna break my ratchet getting them off. They definitely hired He-Man to put the last ones on. So yeah, I mean, it's something you want on there that, you know, you want it to be tight, but I don't know if you need it to be that tight. So pretty ridiculous, but yeah, I feel like I almost shattered my Chinese wrench over there. Broke one already today, way over there. As you can see, I kind of threw it. It's what you get for not lasting an afternoon, you piece of crap. Good morning. Okay guys, this is the next day, and as you can see, we got the passenger side mount in. Finally, this shitty fuse out of the way. You can see I had to bend the shit out of this to make room to tighten that bolt. And I had to stick a 17 back in here. It's just as well. Well, 17 is the size of the socket for this bolt. I don't know the official size, but I had to put a 17 in there because it's the only thing I could get to clear this space, no matter how low I dropped it, and in order to get anything in there, a wrench, ratchet, etc. And really, I had to use this set of wrenches. I had to go to the parts store and get them, and that's the only thing that would fit in there. Really thin wall, so that was fun. But yeah, those set of wrenches, and I was finally able to tighten everything down. I still have the rear mount to do, and I'm hoping I can just do it with these tightened up. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I think this, it's two pieces. There's Allens on the bottom here. I had to take it apart to even get it in here. I think it would be easier when you're at the time of install, when you're installing the engine, like the whole thing. I think you basically put in the driver mount and then swing this up. And this is already bolted to the tranny, so you got all the room for activities. And then you just swing this up into place. And have this already in, so that you could just meet the two and then put the Allens in from the bottom, I guess. But to me, that just seemed like it would be a lot harder to line those Allens up, just being one person here and not a buddy to help you out, jack up the engine back and forth, you know, or whatever they got to do to line them up. So I just had this put together before I bolted it to the tranny. So it was not fun. I mean, I don't know why some people think to say that this is easy. Maybe it's easy for them. I didn't find it that easy. I thought it was a pain in the ass. It really was. Hopefully you can hear me with this train that going by. There's a lot of them in this area. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm gonna start on the rear mount today and wish me luck. Okay, we're gonna have a small moment of honesty here. So this mount you can barely see all the way down in here. Oddly, I can see really well on the camera. I can reach it. I can reach the 14mm bolt and the 17mm on the side, and I can probably get everything out. My concern is getting everything put back together in the yard. Right now, I'm actually at work, and I can't afford to have this thing down. If I can't get that rear mount put back in, I'm stuck, and I can't get stuck at work. I'm gonna have to probably finish this up at the parents' house. I got the two mounts in. I'll do the rear mount, which looks like the main problem, unfortunately. I'll have to do that at the parents' house, I think. So we'll pick that back up then. But on the other hand, I do have LED lights I got off of Amazon that I might install today as well to get one more project done. These are kind of cool. They're supposed to have like a halo effect. So you download the app on your phone and you can control the halo. Now again, this is to kind of mimic what the DA9 Integra headlights were when they had like the inner portion was the fog lights, but it would have been like more centered. I'm just going to make these high beams fog light. That's the plan anyway. We'll see. They're dimmable, so you know they won't be that bright. I think they are anyway, so we'll see. But yeah, that's the plan. That way we're doing it smart and not getting stuck here at work. That would suck. See if my camera focuses here. Well, it's round 2 for motor mount drama. We got our last motor mount here, the rear motor mount that we need to do. Got a couple of things accomplished. Got rid of the charcoal canister and this little evap thing for the emissions system. Got that out of the way. Got rid of our ricer lights that somebody decided to put on for us a while ago. And yeah, you'll see I've moved the fuel filter out of the way. Got these coolant hoses off, kind of kicking it out the way a little bit here and there, give us access to this guy. I've already taken out one of the bolts, and of course as soon as you do that, the whole thing moves for no damn reason at all, and it moved really far back. I can kind of jack it up and get it to move halfway back into position, but that's okay because we're not going to put this one back in anyway. I'm just hoping it's not going to be a real pain in the ass putting it back in, putting the new one in, and of course it will be, I'm sure, but we'll see. That's basically all I've done. The canister used to sit right here if you didn't know, and then that little evap thing, little solenoid used to sit there, but I'm not using them, so why have them in there? Okay, as you can see, we got the old mount out, and it's been welded and it's seen better days. You can see this bushing doesn't even really fit in here anymore. It kind of rotates out on its own and does all kinds of stuff, wonky stuff that we don't want it to do. So it's been repaired once before and just seen better days. And the new one, and that's what we're going to be putting in. Wish me luck. Okay, so it's just as I feared. This is too big and bulky to get into place, so I'm going to have to remove the T-bracket in order to get it. That's my last hope, rather than like basically dropping the whole engine to try and get it in there. So yeah, I figured it was going to be a bitch, and yes, it's going to be a bitch. Decided to take a break to show you guys kind of what I'm dealing with here and how I think I'm going to actually achieve some success here. So one thing I can say about these place racing mounts, even though they don't exist anymore, is I believe they're made out of steel, but they're a lot thinner in every way than the Hasport mounts, and therefore way easier to get in and out of the engine bay, even with the engine in. This one has been repaired again, and I think that's the downfall here. Maybe they just weren't as strong, and maybe that's why the Hasport mounts are so thick, although aluminum. They're crazy thick. Like, to the point where I'd say it's a little bit annoying, because to even get your socket on to one of the bolts to get these either on or off, like, it's so tight. The tolerances on a regular socket, I have to like basically hammer it on to get it in there so I can do or undo the bolt, right? So that's kind of annoying. And then here on the T bracket, I had to completely remove the T bracket basically to get this mount in, and that's one bolt here, a rather large bolt. I don't know if you can see that. And there are two bolts that go in the other way, down on the other side here, underneath. So I had to get underneath the car and get those. And they're very obvious. That middle bolt is a little bit larger, and then the lowest, the third bolt, basically for the T bracket here, is smaller, if that makes any sense. Then of course you've got the one bolt that goes here. You got one bolt that goes here. This one was really fun to try and line up. And then there's one back here that you can't even see probably on camera, but because these are so thick, I can't even use the same tools I used to get the place racing mount out. I have to use even smaller tools. So what I'm using is a flex head ratchet, which I could only use about halfway until it got too tight, and then it sucked it up towards the firewall, and then now I can't even use this. So now I've had to resort to a very low profile 17, and I'm getting about 1/8 of a turn in here. So I don't know if you can see this on camera, but let's see if I can put it on the bolt here for you. And this is how much of a turn I get out of it. And then I have to, so that's what I got to do. And so I had to, when I was putting this in, I had to rotate the T bracket this way and rotate the mount this way. And then kind of, since this is such a hard material, it's the Extreme Race compound, I had to basically, I put a towel right here and I just kind of hammered it in with my jack handle and my 3-pound hammer. Then I took a pry bar and then just kind of moved this up until it aligned with the bolt. So that's what I did there. And these aren't super tight yet. They're all just kind of, I'm getting them kind of snug and then I'm going to button up this mount, and then I'm going to tighten these the rest of the way and start putting things back together. It's been a lot of fun. It's actually way more fun than I thought it was going to be. So if you're looking to do this and you're going to use Hasport mounts, I mean, that's kind of what you're in store for. I have been driving the car with these two mounts installed. Probably not ideal. You know, you should probably want to do the whole job first, but I'll tell you, just putting those two mounts in there made a huge difference. It is way more vibey, way more vibraty through the whole cabin. It's you're going to develop some more vibrations and maybe some rattles in the dash and whatnot, but I don't really care. It made the experience of this car driving it way better. Very race car like. It's one of the most race car things you can do, I think. So yeah, even though this is sort of like my daily driver right now, which is kind of crazy, I highly recommend them. I mean, they're a big improvement, but they're also a pain in the ass. So there's that. It's a mixed bag. Okay guys, so we're almost wrapping this thing up. One thing I wanted to point out, this is the last bolt I have to tighten up on the T bracket, and I left that kind of loose so it can kind of articulate a little bit so I could line up the bolts underneath. There's two again that go this way underneath there that you can't see, and I'm not going to crawl under the car to show you, but take my word for it. But yeah, so I left that one loose so it'll articulate so I could line it up and stick those bolts in. And I just got those off and back on with my impact, and I got one of those cheap, the bigger ones that you get off of Amazon. And so just so you know, you can get to those with an impact. It's not a problem. Also, it might be a good idea to have somebody help you, a buddy. In this case, my mom, Mama Ree, helped me out today, work the jack a little bit so that we can kind of move the engine up and down and that T bracket to get it to line up. This job is lots of fun. You have my respect if you do it. I will call you a real mechanic if you do it with the engine in the car, because it's quite a challenge to get to that guy there. It's doable. You can do it. Some of you may be wondering what tools I used for this job. They are as follows. Various different ratchets. I have my 1/4-inch drive set here with a 7, an 8, a 10, a 12, and a half deep socket. Then I have, let's see here, I think I got a couple 17s and a couple 19s. Yep. a couple flexies. So I got a flexi 17 and I got a flexi 14. Super long extension, various extension sizes. I used all 3/8 drive ratchets today. They are kind of on the small side for some of this because whoever put these mounts on before, they were He-Man tight. Super, super, super tight. I got some low profile little, I don't know what you'd call these, like curved wrenches, right? Curved at the end. What would you call those? I don't know. But anyway, low profile, so they'll fit in really tight spots. I'm using a 17 and 19, a 12 and 14, because they're different sizes on each end, and a 10 and 11, another small 10. Then I have a flexi flex head ratchet, 17 and 19 on the other end, a pick, some electrical tape, super long needle nose pliers, a large pry bar, fly swatter to slap the hell out of those bitch-ass wasps, smaller pry bar, an impact, a 3-pound hammer, some jack stands. Wow, this thing really can't focus. And a jack. Oh, and a drop light. That's it.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, you might like this one too. Check it out.